tym odcinku, wyjątkowo po angielsku, moim gościem będzie Matiasem Bonet, który prowadzi coliving space bedndesk na Majorce. Witaj na Zdalniaku. Ja nazywam się Wojtek Zając, a to jest podcast o wykorzystaniu możliwości, jakie daje nam praca zdalna, rozwijaniu swojej kariery oraz o mądrym podróżowaniu. Jeśli chcesz być niezależnym od tego, gdzie się obecnie znajdujesz, ta audycja jest właśnie dla Ciebie. Jak zapewne większość z Was wie, jestem od kilku tygodni na Majorce i akurat tutaj miałem bardzo duże szczęście, bo udało mi się dość przypadkiem znaleźć coliving space prowadzony naprawdę w świetnym miejscu, zaraz przy Palmie, największym mieście na Majorce. I kiedy tu przyjechałem, naprawdę ułożyła mi świetna społeczność, która jest zbudowana wokół tego colivingu, coworku. Pierwsze co zobaczyłem to ściana zdjęć poprzednich gości, także już wiedziałem, że trafiłem bardzo dobrze i od razu pomyślałem, że warto byłoby porozmawiać z właścicielem i stwórcą tej przestrzeni, z Matiasem Bonet. Z Matiasem porozmawiamy o tym, co skłoniło go do założenia tego coliving space, o tym, kto najczęściej gości w jego progach i o specyfice mieszkania i prowadzenia biznesu na Majorce. Z góry przepraszam Was za trochę gorszą jakość audio niż zwykle. To dlatego, że to był mój pierwszy wywiad na żywo i organizowałem go trochę na szybko. Jeśli będziecie mieli jakieś problemy ze zrozumieniem, to już za 2 dni na stronie na zdalniaku.pl będzie pełna transkrypcja po angielsku. A teraz zapraszam. Hi everyone, we are here with Matiasem Bonet, who runs a bedndesk co-living space here in Majorca. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm excited to talk to Matias because I've been staying at his co-living place for more than 3 weeks now, and I love it here. I met so many very interesting people from all over the world, and it's fascinating to me how one can run a co-living space like this. Matias, could you tell me at the beginning how did you start your career and what led you to think about creating a co-living space?
So I studied computing science at the university, but I always liked interaction with people and not only the computing and programming. I love it, but I like all other stuff. And I got the opportunity to work in a research center that they were studying the ocean or marine related investigation or research. So I could merge my two passions, like the ocean and the computing. And so I've been always like this, trying to work in things that fulfill myself, not only for money, of course, but something that make me go happy to work every day and a place can I enjoy. And step by step, I managed to work for the Australian Ocean Data Network. It's I was living in Australia for almost 2 years, and so we were gathering data from all over the places in Australia. Somehow I got tired of being so far away from Europe, and I was living in Tasmania, that is even far away from Australia. So, and they offered me to keep the job, and that was something I didn't expect. So they offered me the first remote work. That was 11 years ago, and it wasn't that common. So then I came back here, and I worked for 1 year, maybe from here remotely. I remember I put only 6 months deadline because I didn't expect that to be for long term. I never thought about working remotely. That was not an option for me, or I don't know, it was something that happened, and I guess my lifestyle led me to that without noticing or something like this. So then I thought, why should I work from Majorca when I can work from anywhere? So that's when I start traveling. I've been always part-time nomad. I like to have a home base. So the longest I stayed traveling was 7 months, but I would like to come back, and all my family lives here, so I like to have both part of the freedom, but also a place where I can come back. but I never been like convenient or like conventional. I don't know what's the English word exactly for that, but so that's when I thought about creating a place like bedndesk. It was also, it's not only for the people who come, but also for me to live and to an office to work from. I try to work from home by myself, and I'm a social person, so I need to be with someone, or just to know that I am working and people who understand what I'm doing. Now it's more common, but before probably you had the same feeling that everyone thinks that you are just traveling or you are just on holidays. So, or you've been working from a hostel or in a place where everyone is on party or everyone wants to do so much cool stuff around you, and you want to do all of this cool stuff, but out of business hours. And so I was trying to create a place where, in two ways. One, for me to have people around, like it's cool people, like nomading and like changing an office which is changing every month. It's like with people from different countries. We had like more than 67 nationalities already in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so like places that I could not even imagine, like Nepal or like places like people from everywhere, and you get all of this feedback, and also for people who comes to show the island or what I see from Majorca, and also to give back some people. Like when I travel, I feel always lucky, and I've met so many people who help me to see places and stuff. So I wanted to create a place where I can show the island, like to give some tips and like to interact with the people who comes. You know?
This is awesome. And how long ago did you start?
That was 5 years ago. It was quite quick. I had like a trip to San Francisco for working in a project. I was going there for 2 months, like workations there, and I saw all of these flats there. They were showing like a startup base, and like it was kind of like a Airbnb apartments, but with people who wants to work there. I wasn't going there for working in San Francisco, but that's my idea of like, why don't I create a place where I can do this to bring people together to work together, not in the same thing, but on like to learn from each other. And that was like 5 years ago, I think.
Okay, 5 years. So you said almost 70 nationalities. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how would you describe the typical person who comes to bedndesk?
It changed over the time. I remember at the beginning it was more fully nomad, or like a lot of basically curious people, people who wants to get a new experience or something different, who already travel a lot, and they want to get like a place where it's like a place to call home, but not something that attach you, like something like this. And then over the time, it's getting more and more people who want to try it before they go on a long trip, like people from Europe, and because Majorca has such a good connection, so it's easy to come here for a month. To test, like even people who work for other companies. I mean, now it's after the pandemic and everyone tried to work remotely, and they tried to work from home and stuff. But even before, people was trying to help. I mean, show their bosses that they can work remotely. So it started with a lot of freelancers, or like the early adopters and people who already travel. But it's moving back more to generic. I don't know. Or normal people. I don't know if that's a word or if they're such as normal people. So.
I was surprised to see that actually it looks like quite a few people come to live in the co-living space for longer periods of time. Like I was expecting maybe 2-3 weeks maximum, but we have some people who have been here for a few months, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also something changed. I mean, I always try to get like minimum of a month, because that's everyone has like a traveling periods and for me, like at least a month is the plan when you get to know the place, not only the co-living but also the area. So to travel just for 1 week, you don't have time to enjoy the place. So I always encourage to stay longer periods, and in low seasons, like the price also goes quite down when you stay longer, but it's more for getting to know people. Like you've been here for 3 weeks, and so it's still like quite quick, like, and without over time is much like if you stay here for a week, there's no point of you don't have good connections, and that's what I want to like for you to get, or for you, and also for me, because I'm part of the scene of the co-living, is like to get connection with everyone that stay here. So Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we can see a lot of
or a wall of fame.
Yeah, wall of fame.
It was funny that you mentioned that you met some, that you had some
Yes.
like known people.
Yeah, I did recognize a few faces. So you know, I think the entire environment, the entire trend is growing, and more people do that. However, I think we're still at the very early phase of the entire trend. So yeah, I'm really hopeful that it's gonna just only continue growing for sure. And talking to those people who have been here already, would you say that most of them work in the IT field?
I mean, in the digital environment, that's for sure. But not only in IT, like programmers or something. It's more, actually, we got a lot of programmers, or there's moments that there's a lot of like I remember at the beginning we're all programming people, but most of the time is more digital marketing or translation, and I don't know, there's so much creativity, like people have creative jobs and they make it remotely, like teachers, like language teachers, and like there was many new things like that you don't expect, like the people is quite inventive on their way to live and to work, so. Amazing,
that's great. And I know that you actually are from Majorca, right?
Yeah.
Did the entire island changed over time? A lot?
Yeah, it changed a lot. It got busier at that time, but now it's getting, of course, like this year is a bit special. But it's changing a bit to be known more for living. Like it's a really cool place for living. I think it's touristic also, but then off season, the people start to realize how cool it is to live in the island, and I think this is also going to move towards the co-living industry to move here. Also, like the good connections that you have. The airport is like one of the most connected in Europe. So in 2 hours or 3 hours, you are in any other place, like you have direct flights everywhere. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I know you mentioned that there have been a few couples formed in here. So also, I wonder how many people will get so convinced that Majorca is such a great place to live in, and so that they would consider actually moving here longer term. I, for one, really like it a lot, and I would totally consider it. I met some people who also came here just for a bit, just to start about renting apartments longer term. So that actually says a lot about this place. So I think we can both highly recommend visiting Majorca. Where do you think how do you think the trend of co-living growing? Do you think it has chances to attract people from even more diverse backgrounds? Where do you think it will go in the coming years?
I think the trend was growing. I remember at the beginning, 5 years ago, we more or less know each other. I remember being in one of the 8 best co-living places article, probably because there was only 8 that they knew, probably. but you know what I mean? Like, it was a moment of like, now you can see like more like aggregators and stuff, and it's starting to be more generic, like more co-living, and the term starting to be more cool, so the people is putting it in other things. At the beginning was more thought about co-living place created for this, and now it's like more, a lot of share apartments or like, but you can see how, like, as I said, like in this world, there's a lot of people. At the beginning, everyone knew each other, and I could check other co-living places, and there was people moving from one place to another. And now I'm starting to lose track about how many people came here, and how, like, it's growing a lot. And I think after this pandemic, that make everyone try to work from home. As myself, I don't consider myself a full-time nomad, and I don't want to be a full-time nomad. Like, I want to have a house and stuff, but I think the part-time nomading or extending your vacations for a period of 2 months, like to go to somewhere else to live there, and all of these things, like I think it will be a new thing, a new trend of part-time nomading, or like a new concept of traveling. I think it's the future, or that's what the thing is going.
Yeah, I think this is amazing, and I'm super excited that more people will be able to work remotely, especially thanks to more and more companies letting people do that. So I think we live in a very exciting times just to see this entire shift towards working remotely. So I think it's great that we started quite early, but I think it's gonna be also great for places that weren't also getting that many tourists in the first place, because they will get to have more people coming, and then also will be able to develop quicker just because of more people going there. So I think it's gonna make the entire
an impact on
they can impact more places, and they can make different areas of given countries much more even in a way.
Yeah. And also moving towards different locations, and for me, I like to live close to the sea, but I like to live in the mountain, and I like to live sometimes, time to time, in a town inland, and and that's going to change. And here in Spain, talking about new opportunities, and there's so many people who learn to work remotely by force because they couldn't. And I always say it's not for everyone, but now there's a lot of people who test it, and a lot of companies who realize maybe it's easier for them, or a lot of people can work not all the time at the office, or they're doing all of these new things by force, but I think this will last for long. So you will see a lot of trend going up on remote working, and
This is awesome. Matias, do you have anything to add? Maybe any tip or?
No, I mean, for me, tip in general, for traveling is check where you go, stay longer than usual, don't go too fast. I guess it goes with age. As you grow, you stay a bit longer in places, but then you realize being in 1 week in one place is not enough. So, and you have a lot of time for traveling. And don't forget to get holidays. That's my other tip. You're traveling and all the time, but there is part of it that should be on holiday. Don't become a remote workaholic. I saw a lot of people like this that I just get in the office okay, that's for only 8 hours, and then the rest is don't forget what you're doing. You are traveling to explore the place. That would be my 2 tips. Just don't forget there is holidays on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Matias. And
thank
again,
you.
I would highly encourage everyone to visit bedndesk in Majorka. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mam nadzieję, że wynieśliście coś ciekawego z rozmowy z Matiasem. Już niedługo na kanale YouTube na Zdalniaku znajdzie się odcinek vloga, gdzie pokazuję pełny tour całego colivingu, więc będziecie mogli zobaczyć, jak to wygląda w rzeczywistości. Zapraszam już teraz. A tymczasem my spotykamy się już za tydzień. Do usłyszenia na Zdalniaku.